Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about an analysis that I conducted in collaboration with research scientists at Cal EPA OEHA, and we explored the relationship between high temperature and risk of stillbirth in California using a cohort data from 1999 to 2009, and our findings were accepted for publication in the American Journal of Epidemiology recently. Rising temperature threatens our health and well-being, but this will not be affecting all of us equally. There will be especially vulnerable population that may include pregnant women and their growing fetuses. Previous studies have linked temperature and seasonality to many of the adverse birth outcomes in studies conducted worldwide, but less is known about the relationship between temperature and stillbirth. In fact, there are only 2 previous studies conducted, both outside the US, analyzed the relationship between temperature and stillbirth. Okay, before I go to the details of my analysis, let me give you some facts about stillbirth. So, stillbirth is also known as fetal death, and the definition of stillbirth varies depending on the location. And in California, it is defined as the death of a fetus who's advanced to at least 20 weeks of gestation prior to the complete expulsion from its mother. Even though the number of stillbirth is decreasing, as of 2013 in the US, stillbirth affects around 1% of all pregnancies. That means around 25,000 stillbirths per year. Known causes of stillbirth include obstetric condition, placental umbilical cord abnormalities, fetal genetic structural abnormalities, infection, and hypertensive disorders. And study shows that environmental factors such as temperature or air pollution could accelerate these causes and leading to more stillbirth. Okay, now let me focus on our study. Our study objectives are listed here. First, we wanted to explore the association between apparent temperature and stillbirth in California during the warm seasons of 1999 to 2009. Second, we wanted to determine if a particular maternal demographic factors, fetal sex or gestational weeks, shows more sensitivity to apparent temperature. Third, we wanted to determine if effect estimates varied by core season of stillbirth or by distance to temperature monitored. Finally, we were also interested in exploring if there is a confounding effect by air pollutants. Okay, now let me explain our data. California Department of Public Health provided the stillbirth data, and from the fetal death certificate, we obtained information about sex of the fetus, gestational age of the fetus, date of stillbirth, maternal residential zip code, maternal factors such as age, education, race, ethnicity. And our study period of interest was the warm season between 1999 to 2009, and we defined the warm season as the period between May to October. Here is a quick summary of our final study population. Our final study population included around 8,500 stillbirths, and most of the mothers were of Hispanic race and were between the age range 25 to 34. Majority of the mothers were not educated beyond high school, and majority of the fetuses were male. Meteorological data was provided by the National Climatic Data Center, US Environmental Protection Agency, CA Irrigation Management Information System. And using the hourly measures of temperature and humidity, we calculated the apparent temperature, which was our exposure of interest. And we limited our analysis to mothers living within the 10 kilometers of a temperature monitor. We did this to mitigate exposure misclassification, also to increase the number of stillbirth included in the analysis. California Air Resources Board provided the air pollution data, and we considered 4 gaseous pollutants as the potential confounders, and they were nitrogen dioxide, ozone, sulfur dioxide, and carbon monoxide. And again, we limited our study to mothers living within the air pollution monitor distance restriction as shown here. Here is a quick exposure metric summary during our study period. And the average apparent temperature in the warm season was around 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, we used time stratified case crossover method as our study design. So case crossover method is ideal for short-term exposure with acute relationship, and in this each person serves as their own controls, and we will be comparing the exposure during the case day, that means the day of stillbirth, with that of exposures in the control days to see if the cases are associated with a particular exposure. And here we limited control periods to the same day of the week as that of the cases to adjust for the day of the week. And we used a time stratified case crossover design, and we restricted all control periods from within the same month as that of the stillbirth occurrence. And this will help us to account for long-term time trends and seasonality by limiting individual comparison to small time periods. So previous studies have suggested that fetal death may take an average of 48 hours in the third trimester and around 70 hours in the entire pregnancy to be completely expelled from its mother. So we considered various lags starting from lag day 2, and we considered various single day lags as well as cumulative day lags. In single day lags, lag X means exposure X days prior to the stillbirth, and we considered single day lags 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And in cumulative day lags, lag 2X means it is the average of several lag periods starting from lag 2 to lag X days, and we considered cumulative day lags 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5 and 2, 6. We calculated the odds ratio and 95% confidence interval, but we are reporting the results as percentage change in stillbirth risk per 10 degrees Fahrenheit increase in the apparent temperature. Okay, here is a quick visualization of our study design. So depending on when the stillbirth occurred in a month, we could select the control periods before and after the event. So consider, for example, consider the column marked in blue color. So the stillbirth occurred in the middle of the month. So we had control periods both before and after the event. But consider the column marked in orange color. So there the stillbirth occurred at the end of the month. So all our control periods were selected before the event at the beginning of the month. And two examples for the single day lags are also shown here. So for example, lag 2 means, for the orange column, it is the exposure 2 days prior to the cases or controls, and lag 3 means 3 days prior to the events. Statistical analysis were conducted in 2 steps. In the first step, we used a conditional logistic regression and we calculated the effect estimates for each climate zones. There are 16 climate zones in California as shown in the map, and they were defined by the California Energy Commission based on weather, energy use or any other variables related to the climate. And in this map, the color represents average apparent temperature for stillbirth during our study period. Okay, now let me come back to statistical analysis. Once we have the effect estimates for each climate zone, we used meta-analysis to calculate a pooled estimate for California by combining all the climate zone level estimates. And here we assumed a random effect model, which means we assumed that the true effect will vary from one climate zone to another. And we used both SAS and R in our analysis. Okay, now let me focus on our results. So in our analysis, we did not see a non-linear relationship between apparent temperature and stillbirth. So all our results are based on linear models. And here are the meta-analysis result for the warm season for all the single and cumulative day lag periods we considered. And per 10 degree Fahrenheit increase in the mean apparent temperature, we observed an increase in stillbirth risk for all the lag periods we considered. And the highest risk was observed for the cumulative day lag 2.6. And for cumulative day lag 2.6, we observed around 10.4% increase in stillbirth per 10 degree Fahrenheit increase in the mean apparent temperature. Also, we found that models with cumulative day lag 2.6 was the best fitting model, and hence in the subsequent slides I will be showing the results from that lag only. So we found some variability in the risk of stillbirth by various maternal factors and fetal sex. Even though risk of stillbirth was similar for majority of the maternal race ethnic group, ranging from 9.4 to 10.8. We observed a lowest risk in stillbirth for non-Hispanic Asian mothers, while the significant risk was observed for the Hispanic mothers. Elevated risk were observed for younger mothers who were less than 25 years of age, in comparison with those mothers who are between 25 to 34 years and who were greater than 34 years of age. Mothers who were less educated had higher risk of stillbirth in comparison with those who had some college education. Also, male fetuses shown higher risk in comparison with female fetuses. We also checked effect modification by gestational weeks. Even though the risk was similar for preterm period, the first one, and full-term period, we observed the significant results in the preterm period. We also found elevated risk of stillbirth during the gestational week between 20 to 25 as well as between 31 to 33 weeks. Okay. Listed are the summary of our analysis. We found that apparent temperature is associated with stillbirth in California. We observed greater risk for younger, less educated mothers and male fetuses. We observed lower risk of stillbirth for non-Hispanic Asian mothers. Higher risk for pregnancies were observed between 20 to 25 and 31 to 33 gestational weeks. And we also found association were more pronounced for mothers who lived within 10 kilometers of a temperature monitor, but we did not see a statistically significant association in the cold season. We did not see a non-linear relationship between temperature and stillbirth. Also, temperature effects were independent of air pollutants. So here are our conclusions. We were able to establish the fact that pregnant women and their growing fetuses are vulnerable populations to heat. And studying the relationship between apparent temperature and stillbirth is relatively a new topic. In fact, ours is the first large epidemiological study conducted anywhere in the US. And based on our conclusions, further studies in other locations are warranted. Also, database with more information on maternal risk factors and medical condition would be beneficial. I would like to thank my co-authors, Dr. Rupa Basu and Brian Malik from Cali PA OIHA, and thank you. These are the biological mechanisms postulated, but some of them may be a long-term effect, but the short-term effects may include excessive, maternal heat stress can lead to more stillbirths via excessive premature labor and insufficient fetal nutrition. So in excessive premature labor can happen due to dehydration. Dehydration leading to reduction in uterine blood flow, thus leading to more premature labor. Also, excess heat can lead to the damage of cells, placenta and vascular system, thus leading to the fetal nutrition.
Could you talk about it in the context of your findings that lower SCS populations are at higher risk? It sounded like you were saying that lower resource populations might be at higher risk.
Yeah, so previous studies have shown a disparity in adverse birth outcome with race and ethnicity, and they observed this is affecting mainly Hispanic and African Americans. So, and they linked lack of prenatal care and insufficient fetal nutrition to adverse birth outcome. So I think it may be related. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about where the temperature monitors are located? You said the risk was increased within 10 kilometers of where the monitor was placed.
So we assign the exposure based on residential zip code. We don't have the exact address.
Okay.
So yeah.
So maybe then I'm not understanding the temperature monitor placement within 10 kilometers?
So from the temperature monitor, we calculate 10 kilometers radius.
Yeah. Radius, yeah, and how do you place the monitor? Like where is that placed?
It will be the middle of the 10 kilometers.
So we have references in the literature about preterm delivery being also associated with this and other outcomes. So does this suggest that those are conservative estimates, since those studies did not include fetal death or consider fetal deaths in the process?
Yes, I think
Was that a recommendation of your paper, potentially?
Do you think in the maternal occupation will play a role in this? Because, like, if they were spend long time outside.
Yeah, we didn't have information about maternal occupation actually, so we thought maybe education or education may be acting as a proxy for.
Because I see the non-Hispanic Asia that has low risk compared to other races.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if it's because I think most Asian would like to stay home.
Yeah, maybe in our data set we had majority of Hispanic women and maybe most of them, so we have the Central California and that include lots of Hispanic women and they may be mainly immigrant workers working outside, so occupation may be playing a role here. Yeah.
But I think she's asking if people, would the temperature be different where people work versus where they live? Is that what
Yes,
that's
so
about?
we didn't have personal information. We don't know the how so we measured the ambient temperature. So we didn't have the information about how a single person actually experienced the temperature. We didn't have that information.
Another question. Was there any effect modification with climate zones? I can't remember exactly how you handled that here.
So. No, we didn't check that. So we produced the combined effect, not the individual climate zone levels. We didn't check that.
Can you put the graph back up for a moment? Nope, keep going, that one. Nope.
Yeah, the lag day.
The lag days. So I'm trying to understand. So the first 5 data points on the graph, lag days 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, we were seeing a little bit of a dose response in that
Yes.
if you had the exposure 2 days prior, the percent change is higher, and then it kind of, if we ignore day 3, it kind of
Yeah.
steadily decreases. So then lag days, cumulative days 2 and 3, 2, 3, and 4, 2, 3, 4, and 5,
Yeah.
and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's just showing the cumulative,
Yeah.
and that's why it increases. I'm just,
Yeah, it was just
it's just a little bit confusing,
Uh,
because
yeah, we don't know the exact biological mechanism for this. We don't know that.
sorry, I just wanted to clarify.
Curious, what parts of, or what places were the temperature monitors, or do you have information on if they were in poor or richer parts of town?
Yeah, that's the
metro
question I was
parts,
asking
rural?
essentially.
So, temperature monitor will be located, I don't know that information. Whether it is, I don't know that. Yeah.
Are they EPA placed, or are these temperature monitors?
Yes,
oasis?
yeah. I don't know how they are distributed. Yeah.
My first question is, what is the temperature range for the 10 Fahrenheit increase?
Sorry?
What is temperature range for this 10 Fahrenheit increase? Like you can go back to the graph. You said it's per 10
Yeah.
degree increase. So what is the range for this temperature? Like this is an average risk for per.
Yeah, so the temperature ranges, the lowest was 52 Fahrenheit to higher range was 85 degree Fahrenheit.
I'm wondering, is there a hierarchical difference between every 10%? Whether using average is not to be biased. Like for 10 degree increase from 52 to 62 would be very different from 62 to 72, right?
Yeah, yes.
So I'm wondering whether you can do this, like analysis for different 10% increase.
Yes, you can do, yes. You can predict, I mean, for 10 degree Fahrenheit, or you can predict for 15 degree Fahrenheit from our, based on our results, yes.
Okay, and could you go back to the slides with the age, for the different risk for different age groups?
So,
The graph. I guess it's another one, the other one, age groups, like from 20 to,
For the weeks.
yeah.
this one?
The
Oh,
graph.
okay, graph.
Yes. So your conclusion is the risk is highest for 20 to 25 and 31 to 33.
Mhm.
I'm wondering why. And
So,
why the risk is actually very low.
So there is some previous studies that was mainly for preterm birth, and they found that oxidative stress could lead to the premature aging of placenta, and that may lead to the excessive premature labor. So I think the same mechanism, oxidative stress may be happening due to temperature also, and that may be so at 33 weeks, placenta may, the 33-week-old placenta may be act like a 40-old placenta, and that may be leading to a premature labor, and thus leading to more stillbirth. Oxidative stress may be a reason. That's what we postulate. We don't know the exact reason.
Wouldn't that be infant death? I
Sorry?
mean, a premature labor, that wouldn't be a stillbirth, it would be a premature.
No, but premature labor can, that was one of the biological mechanisms we
Sure, I'm
postulated.
just saying, but then that would be a live-born infant that dies, correct? That's just the difference, that's not captured by your outcome of stillbirth.
No, but excessive premature labor could lead to more stillbirth. That was one of the biological mechanisms we
But the infant would
postulated.
have to die in utero and then be delivered. If they're delivered and die, it's not a stillbirth. That's all I'm saying, to be clear about what you're
Yes,
saying.
but what I'm saying is oxidative stress may be one of the reason.
Yeah, I understand. I'm just saying when you're saying that could be a mechanism, that's a mechanism of infant mortality, not a mechanism of stillbirth. If there's early labor, that's so early that it causes
Yeah.
death.
Yes, so what I was saying, in the paper earlier, they were presenting it for the premature, and we are saying oxidative stress may be one of the reason for stillbirth as well.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
And low risk for 34 to 36, was it
Yes.
a small sample size or?
Yes, we had a small sample size, so we don't know the reason. Yeah.
Great, thank you very much.